Hello everyone, welcome to our 11th instructional video for Math 1. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend and that you are off to a great start on this Monday. You're probably asking, Miss M, what's with the hairstyle? What's with the scarf? Reppin' Phoenix right here. And I also have my teacher assistant here to join us today. But I will be letting you guys know what's happening this week, why I'm dressed this way at the end of the video. For now, let's get ready for some note taking. If you guys can get your pen and pencil, and if you're working on your paper packet, if you are working with me on the computer, make sure you have your tab open with the document. And if you are just doing your own thing, taking notes your own way, let's get that ready and begin. I'm just going to share my screen and begin our 11th lesson. Okay, so everyone, you should be able to see that the packet for the 11th lesson in front of you. Before I go over the objective, you guys should notice on the first page is this cute little cartoon I drew. This week from the 13th to the 17th is review week. It's the week before spring break, and I just want you guys to be aware that we're starting our QPA capstone or capstone QPA on the 27th, the Monday right after spring break. And you want to focus on 3 things this week. 1, you want to finish your mini QPA 1 and mini QPA 2. Secondly, you want to try each of the review problems that I will be giving on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And message me if you have any questions or if you need any help. I am going to be open to doing one-on-one tutoring virtually. So keep that in mind. I do want to help. You're not doing this alone, okay? So let's take a moment to settle that. Overall, make sure that you do believe in yourself. You guys got this. I know it's a little overwhelming having to do all this online learning. I know some of you guys express being really cooped up and kind of going insane, but gotta find your zen and you got this, okay? So let's look at our objective for today. So we're gonna read at the top. Our objective is that you should be able to review how to identify variables of a scatter plot and define what's categorical and quantitative data. So most of you, from what I can see from our live sessions and the work that you have turned in, kind of understand variables already, but I will be touching upon categorical and quantitative data just a little bit more this time around. So let's turn to page 2. You guys should see a vocabulary sheet in front of you. I thought this might be really helpful for you all. I have it translated in Spanish as well. I want you guys to pause the video and give a moment to kind of read through it on your own, and then I can go over each of them just really briefly together. Okay, so pause the video, take a moment to read. Okay, so hopefully you guys took the time to read through all the 6 vocab words. The first one, individuals of a data set. It's kind of hard I've been trying to think about ways that I can explain this so you guys can make sense of it. So I'm just gonna think of a scenario. Let's say that I decide to interview or let's say the research is this. I want to see if there's a relationship between sleep time and grades. Okay? That's my research question. And then I interviewed 25 students. And I asked them about how much time they slept and what their grades were. Okay? So time slept and grades. Again, I don't know why I rewrote that. And then grades are in percentages, time is in hours. All right. So the individuals of a data set, the objects or people that count as data points, that would be the students. So if I was collecting data, it's basically like who or where I'm collecting data from. Okay, so the individuals are who or where I'm collecting data from. I'm collecting data from 25 students. So those students are the individuals. It doesn't necessarily have to be people, it can be objects, but in this case, these are people. The variables. So the variables are any characteristics, numbers, or quantity that can be measured, grouped, or counted. So in this case, what am I measuring? What am I collecting information on? So if individuals is the who or where, the variables is the what. So my what is sleep time and grades, okay? I am trying to those are the things I'm collecting data on. Now, I want to ask what independent variables are. That's what represents the x values. It affects or changes the dependent variable. The dependent variable is the variable that represents the y values. It depends on the independent variable. So in this case, I would say that my grades are my dependent variable and my time slept is my independent variable. So sleep time would be your x-axis, grades would be your y-axis. Now I'm going to ask, okay, so what kind of data is it though? Is it quantitative or categorical? Quantitative data, like quantity, is basically data that can be measured. So it could have an infinite different amount of values. An example is height. It's something that I can count, I can measure. It's usually a number. Categorical data is data that can be sorted into groups or types. So an example is colors. Usually the answers are words, right? I remember this is one of the lessons I did before our school closed, and most of you had a good chance of kind of exploring it with me. Other category data examples like gender, country, type of school, right? If it's a type or something you can group into if it's not like a quantity, it's categorical. So if we're looking at hours and percentages, what kind of data are our variables? I would say that hours and percentage is quantitative data. And you guys need to know for scatter plots, we only use quantitative data. We don't use categorical data for our scatter plots. So you only use quantitative data. It's data that you can count. So hours you can count, you can measure. Percentages you can count, you can measure. And that's why those things are quantitative. Okay. So hopefully that kind of gives a little bit more information on like what these definitions mean. If you do have any questions, of course, message me, call me. I do want to make sure you understand these because this is going to be the foundation of everything we do moving ahead with scatter plots, okay? So everyone, please turn to page 3. We're going to go over a practice problem now. All right, let's take a moment, stretch a little bit. You guys just received a lot of information, hug something that's comfortable, go pet your dog, take a moment, take a break, and come back. And we're going to try this problem together, okay? So we're going to answer the following questions, number 1 and 2 and 3, based on this problem. This graph is about how millions of Americans rely on caffeine to get them up in the morning. Here's nutritional data on some of the popular drinks at Ben's Beans coffee shop. I am one of the millions of Americans who rely on coffee in the morning. I actually have my cup of coffee over there, and I will be drinking that throughout the day. But we're looking at some information about Ben's Beans coffee shop and some info on his popular drinks. Okay, we're trying to figure out what do these words mean? What do these numbers mean? So let's take a moment to look at the table first, right? You notice that we have our popular drinks here from our brewed coffee to our lattes, our mochas, cappuccinos, iced coffee to chai lattes. Comment below if what your favorite type of coffee is, if you drink coffee. And then we talk about, let's go column by column. We talk about the type. Is it hot or cold? We talk about calories, right? How many calories is each drink, the amount of sugar and the amount of caffeine in those popular drinks. Now, our first question is we're going to choose one answer. What are the individuals in this data set. So just a quick reminder, our individuals, right, are the objects or people that count as data points. It's who or where we're collecting our data from. So in this case, is it our customers? Is it our drinks? Or is it our contents, like our caffeine contents? So take a moment and I want you guys to think about it. Have the answer in your head. Do you think it's A, B, or C? Do we think we're collecting data? Who or where are we collecting data from? Who and where are we collecting data from? Hmm. Well, the correct answer is going to be B, our drinks. I mean, you might think like, oh, obviously, maybe we're collecting information from our customers. We're asking them about the kind of drink. But if you notice, we're literally specifically collecting data about the popular drinks. So it's the drinks that we're collecting data on. And we're not just talking about caffeine. That's why C is wrong. So our correct answer is Ben's drinks. Hint, hint, hint. Actually, usually whatever is in the left column is going to be your individuals to this data set. Okay. Now, the next question is this. This data set contains how many variables? So, refresher, our variables, maybe I can use a different color here. Let's do blue. Our variables are basically what we're collecting data on. Okay, so from my example before, it was sleep time and grades, and I was asking those two pieces of information from the students, which are our individuals. In this case, what are our variables? What are we collecting information about the drinks? Well, we're actually collecting information on the type, the calories, the sugars, and the caffeine. And if you notice, this is at the top of the table, and usually that's where we find our variables. If that's the case, how many variables are there? There are 4 variables. So our answer is 4. Now, if we move on to question 3, how many of them, out of the type, calories, sugars, and caffeine, how many of them are quantitative? If you guys remember, quantitative means, right, data that can be measured. So it's like things like hours, percentages, things that you can count, things that are numbers that we consider quantitative. So how many of them are quantitative? So if you look at type, let's look. There's only 2 kinds of answers, hot or cold. So does that mean that's quantitative or categorical? The answer is categorical because it's a type. We know that we are grouping them either into hot coffee or cold coffee. So there's just going to be 2 groups of answers. So therefore, that's categorical. So we know that this is not quantitative. Now we're looking at calories. Okay, I see numbers. Hopeful. I think it might be quantitative. Now we got to think, okay, like if I was to measure the calories of a coffee, I could probably basically have it from 0 to infinity, right? There's a endless possible amounts of caffeine or calories that can be in a coffee cup. So in this case, this is actually quantitative. Grams of sugar, quantitative. Milligrams of caffeine, quantitative. So out of the 4, actually, there are 3 that are quantitative. So that's all I'm asking for when I'm looking or asking these questions about these problems. Do you know what are our variables? Do you know which ones are individuals? And out of them, do you know which one's quantitative or categorical? Those are the 3 main things that you should be aware of when you're looking at your data, because that's going to give you the context you need when you're describing your scatter plot. It's not just a bunch of random numbers, just a bunch of random points. Like it's actually talking about real life things, and you want to be able to understand that because those are skills that you're going to need in the future. Whatever job or college class you take, data is super important, and knowing and understanding data is huge. Okay, so I want you guys to try the practice problem on page 4 by yourself. Please get that done and turn that into Google Classroom so I can give you feedback. It's very, very, very similar. It's about basketball. Hopefully that is of some interest. And do your best. I know you guys got this, okay? That's it for today's packet, actually. All the review packets are really short and just really hitting home important key concepts. So if you know how to do this, you should do your mini QPA actually really well. So if you haven't done mini QPA 1 yet, please, after doing this practice problem, go back, complete the packet. It's the same thing. Now that you know this, you probably understand and have mastered it. So I know you guys can do well. Yeah. So wrapping things up, just what's ahead, our schedule. Today is the 13th. By now, you should have completed lesson 8 from last week. Tomorrow is our live session. Please keep in mind, do show up. I do go over a lot of important information, and I really do miss you all and enjoy seeing you guys' faces and being able to talk. Um, and yeah, I have videos uploaded Wednesday, Friday. The next week is spring break, so there won't be any videos. So please do take that time to like catch up on any work that you may need to do, to rest, to relax, and get ready for our QPA, which is starting the week after. Okay, so please be ready for that. It's gonna be everything that we've been learning put together, and will be the final grade for our unit. Cannot believe that we're almost done with our unit. Oh, and I made a typo. This should be 5-1. Yeah. Um, yes, it is kind of amazing to think. And hopefully, I will be able to see you guys the week after in May. But if not, please stay safe. Please wear your face mask. Please stay indoors. And I know that it could be a little crowded, but hopefully, you guys can find ways to be at peace, to find joy. And I'm always here if you need me. One more thing, the reason why I'm dressed a little crazy today is because today is Mismatch Monday, right? So wear your tackiest outfit. You're in your crazy hair, purple polka dots and yellow striped pants, right? Sounds amazing. Dress up, take a photo, look great. Make sure you tag us in your photos, Phoenix Charter Academy Springfield on Facebook. Find us on Instagram. And yeah, I know that this is all virtual, but we can still spend time together and have a little fun. Tomorrow is pajama day, so wear comfy clothes. I know all of us basically wear comfy clothes all the time now, but now we can do it in solidarity. Wednesdays are spring fling, so a lot of colorful colors. Thursday, show off your talent, show off your TikTok videos. And Friday is our virtual community meeting at 4 o'clock. So hopefully I'll get to see you guys there as well. Anyways, hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Have a great Monday. And hopefully math was impossibly easy. Bye.